This is a story that was told to me when I was a young boy. And this is a story of a group of boys who were going to school together. And one of the boys in the school or in the ashram, he had a very curious nature, and normalcy in his life, just living an ashram life, was getting a little boring for him. But he was always trying to see what he could do outside of the normal, what he considered normal. So he would jump out of the monastery boundaries and he would try to hang out with the people outside of the boundaries to find out what kind of lifestyle they were living. And he found that the lifestyle that people were living outside of the monastery was filled with a lot of adrenaline rush, a lot of excitement, and he wanted that adrenaline rush. So what his friends were doing is they were actually going and stealing from people's homes and trying to find ways to break the laws and constantly finding weaknesses in society to try and take advantage of. And with every experience of him with them, he was getting more and more of an adrenaline rush, and he was getting more excited about the next adventure, about the next adventure. Eventually, he forgot that he was even a student in the monastery, and he never went back, and he just hung out with those students. I mean, not the students, the people outside of the monastery. And as you all know, eventually, karma catches up with you. You can get away 100 times, 200 times, but when karma finally catches up with you, then it comes to all that excitement and all of that comes to an end. So finally, the king at that time, with his soldiers, they captured all these thieves and his all group of friends. And one by one, all his friends, they ratted on him. They told the messengers of the king, the soldiers of the king, the investigators, that, and everyone threw him under the bus. And he got into a situation where he was held responsible for everything. And then finally, it was time for him to get his sentence, his punishment. And they asked him, we are going to execute you, but we want to know, what is your desire? What is your wishes? And he said, my wish is to see my aunt, because she loved me so much. She was the love of my life. He was raised by his aunt. And when his aunt came close and he said, aunt, please come closer. I want to whisper something. I want to tell you something. And when the aunt came close, he opened his mouth and he bites the ear of his aunt very, very hard. And his aunt asked, why are you doing this? And he said, because my whole life, you did not prevent me from bad association, because you were my guardian and you had the right and the power to put me in the right association of people. And you did not guide me in the right association. So this is a story from Panchatantra, it's a yoga text. So the principle in this yoga story is that in life, that if we do not select a particular kind of association, then that association will select us. So if you don't look for good association, then bad association, or association that is readily available everywhere in the marketplace, negativism, people who are always ridden with ill emotions and feeling towards others, that's the association that will come and capture you. our whole practice that we're doing now in our Sangha, in our spiritual practices, is find the most beautiful part of our being and to remain in that association of that beautiful self that we all are. And if we don't have that association inside, we should try to look for that association outside. If we are able to associate with our pure self inside, then we'll find it outside. And if you will find it outside, they will bring you back to your heart. One of the students had asked me, Veda, I've been drinking a lot of alcohol. I have alcohol addiction. So how can I get out of this addiction? Please tell me, I want to become free from this alcohol addiction. So I went through a process with him, asking him, how did he become an alcohol addict? So he told me how one of his friends in middle school, stole some vodka from the father's stash and shared it with him. And, always a little experience like that led to him trying to, sneak away and drink and sneak away and drink with his circle of friends. And eventually he became an addict where he is always drinking. And then asked him to make a list of all his friends. And every one of his friends are people who drank. And I told him, I said, I can advise you. I can give you suggestions on how you can stop this addiction, but are you willing to follow? Otherwise, there's no point wasting our time. So he said, yeah, I will do anything because it's completely, making me an absolute handicap in my life. So he said, yes. So I said, quit your job and, throw your phone, delete your social media platforms and find association. And I helped him to go to an ashram where he had no friends who were drinking. Everyone he was surrounded by would never drink. And when he lived in an ashram, free from the association of people who were alcoholics or even just drink occasionally, just anywhere close to alcohol, that in itself, just being away from it and practicing spiritual life and associating with good people who had good habits, his life changed because he was able to give up his intoxication without a 12-step program, 20-step program, 30-step program. None of that was needed. It was simply to change his environment and his association. It is explained that someone who's practicing bhakti, someone who's practicing bhakti yogi, someone who's practicing meditation, they're like touchstone. No problem. So if you take this stone and you touch it to anything, that thing will turn into gold. So if you take, a touchstone and you touch it to the iron, and this iron will turn into gold. But the interesting part of practicing bhakti from the heart, sincerely, not only can you make a touchstone can turn everything into gold, but this touchstone can turn something to another touchstone. So a yogi can turn someone into another yogi. Say if someone wants to study business, you go to a businessman, right? They can teach you all the skills of the trade. They'll give you all their knowledge and experience and give you hands-on training and everything to make you a perfect, ideal, successful businessman. But they will never make you a successful businessman like them. Because in the business world, they have to be the number one. They have to be on top. But in spiritual life, everyone is helping and serving others to be better than themselves. And that is why bhakti, or love, pure, unconditional, transcendental love. I don't know. So that's why it's so important. The emphasis is in having this amazing association where you not only learn to become, free from addiction, but you actually gain the highest experience of transcendental love. The reason I'm using this metaphor of addiction is because we are all, one way or another, addicted to the material world. There is something that we're addicted to, like, for example, we're addicted to being successful. We're addicted to our bodies and our likes and our looks and our different aspects of our being. So much so that we are constantly spending 24 hours of our life, mostly, maybe 20 hours of our life, taking care of this body, which is, and the needs of the body, which is our addiction. So one of the key components of this Sangha and our individual lives, and particularly like the big, we're doing this retreat in Radhadesh by the beautiful, kind support of each and every one of you, is to create that space of heart. It should be the heart of Europe, this event, where everyone comes in to open their heart, to see the beauty that they carry within the heart, and let everyone feel and take that energy of love within themselves, where they actually pause and think for a moment how important it is to be in love with oneself and in the company of others. You may not realize, but the world is really, really, really hungry, is supremely hungry for love. And they're not able to find it in the world because the world is moving very fast away from love. They can find everything in the world, all the material addictions. They have unlimited supply to satiate, to try and satiate that material addictions for love, relationships, and all kinds of things. But what is truly essentially missing is enabling and giving people the tools to find their heart and enjoy the love and the bliss that lies within oneself. So that's why I have been meditating on Belgium and how eagerly I'm waiting to drown myself in all of the love, the community, the purity, the essence that all of you bring to these retreats. And it's so critical, especially in this time in the world right now. So much volatility. There's no guarantee of life. There's only guarantee that life is temporary and unpredictable. So therefore, we have to take our hearts and feeling that transcendental, eternal, spiritual love somewhat a little seriously, otherwise we'll miss out on love.